So right now, I'll introduce my next guest, Irene Kamami. So Irene is 25 years old, and her struggle with sex is a bit different. Irene, welcome to Real Talk.
Thank you.
So maybe please share with us, because you told the show producers that as a young woman, you've been struggling with something, and it's not something that most people would have the confidence that you do to come out and speak about openly. Please talk to us about that.
Okay, first, before you decide to tell people or to get that courage to tell someone that you've been struggling with it, it's to accept first it's not the right thing. Though it's hard to get out of it. I've been struggling with porn addiction, which has been my consolation. Anytime I'm stressed up, the only thing I think about, or that one thing that will make me feel good, is to get my earphones on and watch something alone. That's porn. And that's what I feel like the right thing to do when I'm alone. Yeah.
So are you presently in a relationship?
Not really.
You're not dating?
Yeah.
Have you dated before?
Long time.
A long time?
Yeah.
And when would you say that your addiction started? Like, what triggered it?
Depression. I was heartbroken. And so every time I thought of someone, I really needed that porn to take it away. Like, I feel good when doing that, and I won't disturb anyone for it. And I can do it alone. I don't need anyone. Like, no one will know my stuff. That's me. I don't have to tell anyone that I need it. I'll just watch it and get feeling good. Yeah.
So wewe umefunga duka, but what you're struggling with is the addiction. So I want to introduce my next guest, who happens to be somebody who works very closely with young people on this. She's Winnie Warogoro, and she talks to young people about the misuse and the miseducation of sex. So please welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Tamim. As you said, yes, I'm Winnie Warogoro, and I'm passionate about speaking to young ladies about sex and sexuality, healthy expression of sexuality, drawn mostly from my own experiences. And as Irene has shared, I was also struggling with porn. I was first introduced to it at 13, thought it was disgusting, but at 17, the curiosity had piqued because I was sexually active throughout high school, and it got me hooked for 8 years. And what led me to that was also that the desperation, the loneliness, the yearning for something else, you know. And as she's rightly put it, porn can lead to addiction, because porn nowadays is actually known as the new drug. You know, the way some drugs that we consume release some hormones that make us go back, or the users go back to it more and more to get a new high and a newer high. That's the same way with pornography. As we consume it, and I like saying consume because consume means that it affects you inwardly, not just view. It goes to your heart, it rewires your brain. It has very profound effects, and that's one of them. As you consume porn, it releases hormones, like drugs. It releases hormones that lead to relaxation, like heroin. Hormones that lead to stimulation and make you want more. And each time you watch, you want another high. Each time you watch, you want another high. And what happens is that the brain can no longer produce the hormones that give you that high. And after, it can be years or many months, depending on how addicted you are, you reach a plateau, and nothing can pleasure you anymore. And then you find yourself, or the consumer finds themselves, going into the dark alleys, and it becomes worse. Another side effect or effect of pornography is that it desensitizes you to real pleasure. You know, what is portrayed is shown as the ideal. It is shown as extremely pleasurable. It is shown as what you want. It's very appealing. And that is, let's just say the truth, it's humanly impossible to achieve what they act. First of all, they're acting.
I think it's important you clarify.
Yeah,
they are acting.
Yeah, they are acting. They are on drugs. They are high, most of them. The men have enhancing drugs for them to continue and continue, you know, for the hours and the minutes, however long. So it's all a set, just like we are, it's all a set. So they are acting. It is not real. So when you watch, you think that that's the real thing and you want it with someone else and you find that you can't achieve that with someone. So porn also disconnects people from real connections because the person can't satisfy you the way that person on screen is being satisfied. So it's an illusion. You end up frustrated.
Well, obviously, this platform is designed so that we can talk about issues as real as possible.
Yes.
And I wouldn't want anyone to judge Irene. So, because she's admitted, I'm struggling with it, and in her mind, she's not causing any harm to anyone but herself.
Yeah.
And I have to applaud her because she knows it's a struggle, it's an addiction. So, as someone who has walked that path, and today you're actually seated here speaking, you know, from a point of empowerment, what advice would you give to her?
The advice I would give to Irene, which is what, but there's, from what I read, what first you have to empower yourself, as you rightly said. Porn conveys a message to the consumer, so you have to get the right message, and it is that it is not satisfying. Once you reset your mind about it and know that this is just an illusion, this is false, I can never achieve this, and it will never satisfy me. It won't achieve what a human touch, no human connection can achieve. Once you reset that false with the truth, it becomes easier to let go of it. And then when you realize that how far it's taken you from, because for me, I was unable to go back to the default, which is you're supposed to relate with someone. So it takes you so far from reality. So you have to, I would say that she starts with the truth, which is what I'm saying, which is what happened to me, or which is what I did, and I'm not judging her. It's the truth. You have to go back to that truth and realize that this is all a lie. And most importantly, it's very possible to break this addiction. There's very many instruments on the internet. You can go, if it's tempting, because I will admit, you can't fall from the addiction, but the temptations will always be there. It's a sexually saturated world. So I've taken measures on my own. I've activated safe search on Google so that no matter what I Google, it brings up safe options. On Twitter, I have blocked some tweets so that it gives me the option of these are tweets you have chosen not to view.
So those are basically what I refer to as triggers.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes.
Those are triggers. Block the triggers. You need help. Talk to someone who can keep you accountable. Someone your age who believes that it's wrong, not someone you're struggling with, someone who can advise you and walk with you. And I would be willing to do that with her. Yes.
Irene, are you willing to do that with her? Okay, so right now I want to introduce my next guests. My next guest in a lot of ways are what I believe every parent who's watching, you're like, Tamima, mi nataka mtoto wangu akue kama huyo. But we also have to get real. So I'll introduce Margaret. Margaret is 25 years old and she's a virgin. So I want her to put into perspective for us, with all the different stories we've had, for her as a young woman in Kenya today, is it a struggle to maintain her virginity? Please help me welcome Margaret to the show.